All right, what is up? I'm here on what day is it? Wednesday? Wednesday afternoon with Careless Sanctions, all the way from you're from Chicago, right?
Yes, sir. What's up, Eric? How are you?
Right. No, I'm good. How are you?
Good, good. Just typical Wednesday.
Yeah, sums it up. All right, so tell the viewers who you are and what you do.
Hey guys, my name is Alessandro. I'm the vocalist of the band Careless Sanctions. We're kind of a metalcore band from the suburbs of Chicago, is kind of what we like to say. And we've been doing things for about a couple years now, and we're just trying to make our stamp in the scene and grow out more. Nice to be here.
All right. So, how'd you first get into making music?
Oh man, that's a loaded question. Like a lot of people, just gonna say my dad had lots of a massive library of CDs growing up, and he introduced me to all types of music from lots of like Def Leppard, Motley Crue, Metallica, Megadeth, bands like that. And
Mhm.
then my mom would listen to stuff like Madonna and Pink and uh, even like Bocelli and other types of stuff. So my
Mhm.
parents, and then from there, I got into the heavier stuff from meeting friends and through games like Guitar Hero and Rock Band, like lots of people.
Hey, Kyler, what is up, my brother? All right. So how did obviously you guys are like a metalcore band, but like how did you develop into doing metalcore?
I think it was just like a palette thing. I
Mhm.
grew up when I started to get into heavier music. I started to listen and really connect with a lot of bands like Killswitch Engage and All That Remains. Like I have the records literally behind me on the wall for
Yeah.
Fall of Ideals. Um, and those bands really connected with me. And the thing that I really fell in love with was with music and this kind of genre is the that dynamic and kind of dance in
Mhm.
between the heavier parts with screams and like these beautiful like soaring choruses. Because when I was a kid and I was growing up, I never really understood that those two things could sound good together.
Mhm.
And when I heard that for the first time, it was like mind blowing for me. And I was like, I want to do that. So that's kind of how it started.
All right. So, what do you think is the biggest struggle that Careless Sanctions is facing right now?
Biggest struggle would probably be just balancing our lives between like the
Mhm.
band and our home lives. Like I think we do a pretty good job of it, but it's like there's always money involved, so funding because we write a lot.
Mhm.
But it's like once one of the things we struggle with is like wanting that stamp of quality ever since our last single came out. It's like we want to make the same thing again and we don't want to like kind of half-ass it. So it's kind of like a balancing the two and figuring out what to prioritize with our funding
Mhm.
and just trying to manage things all by ourselves and not overexert while being able to balance the two, if that makes sense.
No, that makes sense for sure. Kevin says Poison the Well was his first heavy album.
Nice.
So, how you guys have played a few live shows, right? I don't know how many, but
I don't know how many exactly, but it's probably I don't know, probably like 20, 30
okay.
at this point.
Do any particular ones stand out for as being like really good or just really like felt really nice or interesting?
Um, there's a few. So recently we played this local show out in Mundelein, and it was called Metalcore on West Shore Legacy, and a friend of mine, Keith, ran it. And
Mhm.
it was just like an outdoor kind of pub with canopies and stuff, and it just felt more like a party instead of a show, and it just felt like the heart of the local culture, and I thought that was so rad. And outside of that, like going to more like national
Mhm.
act stuff, um, one of the biggest shows or one of the bigger shows we played that I thought was like a real game changer was when we opened for Slaves,
Mhm.
um, who are now called Rain City Drive. They changed their name. Um, that show, it just felt like we connected with our audience at the time,
Mhm.
are really connecting with people in our age group. I'm 29, and we typically connect with millennials and maybe younger, a little bit older than that.
Mhm.
So just being able to really directly connect with that audience, and it was like the first time that we saw people um, moshing and doing circle
Mhm.
to our music for the first time, and it was the craziest thing I've ever seen. It's like it just opened my eyes. I was like, "Oh my god!" It was like people like our music that much, or like think it's that cool that they did that on their own, like just from trying to incite one.
Mhm.
And because that show was such a flip, they told us within like a week or 2 weeks we'd be playing it, so we didn't have a lot of time to spread the word and sell tickets and stuff.
Mhm.
And so it was so amazing just being able to play to a big audience that really resonated with us, and they were like taking pictures with us, and it just like it was cool. Like it got a little taste of like what it felt like to be on a bigger stage uh and open like for like your direct
Mhm.
pocket audience. And since then, shows at that venue we played over at the Forge in Chicago or in Joliet, sorry, was they've always been like a blast, and I've loved them.
Okay, cool. So I have to ask, is there like a big like metalcore scene in the Chicago area?
Um,
I know there's like a lot of industrial bands in Chicago, but I wasn't sure about like, other genres.
I would say there's like a it's fairly sized. I think I will say I do think there's more kind of like deathcore leaning bands in
Mhm.
Chicago and kind of like the general Midwest. It feels like deathcore has more of a prominence,
Mhm.
at least I think. But I think there's a good amount of metalcore bands. There's some really, really good talent out here, like Dream Malaysia, Qualia, Sun Crusher,
Mhm.
Tanzim, Thursum. I could go on for forever, but like these guys, like even like Stolen Sun, and
Mhm.
they're there's a lot of them in my opinion, and I think they're trying to the local scene is trying to really create this like nest for everybody, and
Mhm.
I think that it's a flourishing metalcore scene, but I do feel like there's more deathcore leaning bands,
Okay.
and some bands that are kind of doing their own thing. Like we kind of play a little bit more gent and kind of metalcore.
Mhm.
Um, so yeah, I would say it's kind of in the middle.
Okay. Hi Diana. Hi Justice. All right. Let's see. Oh, I should probably mention since we already talked about the Chicago music scene, I just announced the other day that I am now sponsoring V's for Villains out of Chicago, industrial band. Check them out. They're fantastic.
Hell yeah.
All right. Up next, what are yeah, words are hard today. What is the band working on right now?
Right now, the band is working on a second merch line.
Mm,
We're figuring out when we're gonna put it out or do a pre-order system. We're also working on what songs are going to be going on to our EP,
mm,
um, our first record, and we're kind of figuring that out and writing what we think is going to work best. Because we've written so much that we're trying to boil down what we think are the best picks, and
mm,
then go from there and write and rearrange what we have to. We're just kind of refining in a way, and then kind of picking how it's going to be laid out format wise, like what songs will go where, what song should be here and here, and why, and
mm,
should we swap this one for this one? Because it's going to be the plan, at least for right now, is to do like a 5 song EP. So it's like you got 5 tracks to show the world why people should listen to your band and
mm,
why they should care. about your band at all. So that's kind of what we're working on, and we're practicing and learning new songs for to make our set a bit fresher,
Hmm.
and also kind of working on our live performance in the meantime too.
Okay. Have you had any really weird interactions with your fans?
Um, a few times I have, but most of the time it's like it'll come off as something like it's an interaction that's like it's really nice, and it comes from a genuine place of kindness.
Hmm.
But I have had a couple instances. It's like I don't know, I don't really want to like point in particular, but like
Hmm.
there have been a couple times where like I got a little uncomfortable, and I'm sure other people have been in that situation before where it's
Right.
like it's kind of like when you're carrying on a conversation with someone, and you're just being really nice and you're really appreciative because they're checking out your band and your music, and they took the time to come talk to you, which is really awesome, and I love that.
Right.
But I do think I've had a couple times where it's like I've given so much of my time, and I've given a lot of myself and my time, and I do want to go around and make sure I thank everybody else who came to the show and have a chance to network and talk to them.
Hmm.
So those were the only uncomfortable really situations I had. I had one fan, like I don't know if it was a fan or what, but somebody that was like kind of almost following me to my car. It felt like at a show.
Okay.
That was weird. Um, but that only happened I think once or twice. Um, and it was all good. It worked out in the end. I just yeah, I mean, I feel like there's just bound to be interactions where it's like maybe you might end up being uncomfortable, or tons of things could happen, and
Right.
everybody's kind of different of like what would make them uncomfortable and what would make you
Right.
uncomfortable. So,
Tell me a story about a piece of music that had a really strong impact on you.
just like a personal song,
Yeah.
or
Maybe when you're growing up or something, a specific song, like, you heard something and it totally blew you away and you're like, I want to do that.
hmm, I think probably when I heard this song, "This Calling" by All That Remains the first time, man, I was just like, "Oh my god!" I was like, "What is this?" And what is the sound?
Hmm.
Because I it was just so heavy, and Phil Labonte or Labonte, however you pronounce it,
Hmm.
their vocalist, like
Right.
that dude his fry scream is so high, and it just starts out the gate super strong, and it was like going super fast, and there's all these heavy screaming parts, but then it goes into this really like big open beautiful chorus, and you got these
Yeah.
nice clean vocals on it, and I'm just like what the hell is this? And for a long time I kind of fell in love with that band and that kind of a sound. And then over the years, like it became more of like a bouncy thing, and
Hmm.
my s- the my personal taste and style changed. But that song in particular really just like it changed the way that I like listened to music and the way I thought
Hmm.
about music. So
All right. And since we talked about All That Remains, I have to shoot out there Justice for Ollie. Okay. Okay.
yeah, yeah, dude, for real, I agree with you on that one. I have a photo with that guy actually.
Hmm. Yeah. He was my cousin's best friend. So,
Dude is a
uh,
legend.
for sure. If you were a salad, what kind of dressing would it have?
Damn, that's a you know what? I've never been asked like a question like this. So, I don't know. I think I would go with like that what is it called? Like ginger dressing or whatever.
Like a sesame ginger?
Yeah, sesame ginger.
Okay.
I'm that type of guy that will do sesame ginger over ranch on a salad. Um stuff like that. But it really it depends on the salad. If it's a kale thing, maybe I'll just go with more like balsamic vinegar or something.
Hmm. All right. Is there anything that we haven't really touched on yet you wanted to talk about?
Um I guess I wanted to. I figured I would talk about one thing.
Yeah.
So this is kind of a topic that I've like touched on with friends a little bit here and
Mhm.
there with with just the scene in general, like in Illinois and whatnot. And I've heard a couple other people talk about this as well. But you know, I've had a couple instances in the past where it I've just felt like there's been like gatekeeping of certain information revolving around whether it's like venues or
Mhm.
information about how to do this or that with your band, or with your art and whatnot.
Mhm.
And you know, just the way I've always felt about it and the way I think it should be done is like, you know, most people obviously you're going to be jealous of something that happens. Like, I'm not gonna lie to you guys at all. Like in Chicago, like I even told like my buddies in the band Dream Malaysia out in Chicago,
Mhm.
like they got this slot with the band Monuments, and I'm a huge Monuments fan, and I was trying so hard to get that slot, and you know, it's like some things are just not meant to be,
Right.
and and although 1000% I was jealous because I love that band, it's
Right.
like I love the guys in like that band Dream Malaysia, for example, and I will 1000% cheer them on. Like I'm trying to go to that show actually. But I just feel like I would really like to see more bands supporting each other in the scene, you
Yeah.
know, and like hyping each other up more. Like I have a hard time and I can't always be at every local show, but I'll try to make it a point to like go out to a couple of them per month if I can.
Mhm.
Um, But it's like I do feel like there's sometimes this thing where it's like someone is like, "Oh, you guys got this show. This band got this show. It should be
Right.
this band that's playing this show and not this band. Why is this band on this gig or on this bill?"
Mhm.
Um, and I've actually really loved just sharing like my strategy when we get shows or what I've been doing like on social media or
Mhm.
to gain more attention, like probably how we met,
Right.
and even how I'm just sharing with people like this is how I've been doing it and how I think you can grow and this is what
Mhm.
I think you could be doing more of. And that has helped me like foster some really cool friendships with some great people and I've gotten to network more and just have
Mhm.
better relationships and better success in the scene and I've helped other bands succeed because of that. At least I like to think so. And they've
Right.
helped me succeed. You know,
Right.
they've taught me things that I learned something recently that was
Mhm.
like it seems like something that's so simple, and I never did it.
Mhm.
I'm a right hand dominant person, and so I hold the mic in my right hand. But my buddy Zach was like, I was like, hey, how do you move your hand more and not be awkward with the other hand? And he's like, you should just try switching hands. And I'm like, it's like I don't. It's just such a simple thing that you don't think about, and that
Right.
it literally changed the whole dynamic and I'm much more like fluid now because I'll use this hand to sing and this hand to move around and do all these gestures and blah blah blah. But yeah, long story short, I just think it would be I really wish that and hope that like the Chicago scene like is more supportive of one another and
Mhm.
hypes each other up more and it's like cheering the other guys on. Because when I do see it, I love seeing it and I think it's really awesome. And I think it really just makes the entire scene grow as a whole. It's like not every band is gonna go on to play shows with bands like Knocked Loose and Motionless in
Right.
White and this and that's fine. But I think if you see your buddy's band is doing good and um, they're out there and they're doing their thing, like this guy out from Indiana, Ben, who's in Dems Fighting Words, super sick band, and like his energy is just off the grid, and the dude is like doing so good. It's like I want to cheer people like that on
Mhm.
because I think they're doing an amazing thing and they're really good at what they do, and more people need to know about them.
Oh
So
my god. Justice says back in the day it was common opening bands would get canceled because an enemy would call the venue saying they were the opening act and say they couldn't get to the gig and they'd be replaced by the time they show up. Holy crap.
that's sad, man. I
That is
just
sad.
we haven't had anything like that happen in Chicago as far as I know of, but
Mhm.
yeah, I feel like the scene would be better if there was more bands just being directly supportive of one
For
another
sure,
and
like,
constantly helping each
in some
other.
ways, it is a little bit, competitive in some ways, but, like, you should still be trying to help each other.
Yeah, no, don't get me wrong. I think competition is very healthy.
Right.
I think competition is the thing that spawns, uh, businesses, bands, and brands to be better at what they do
Yeah.
because they're always trying to top one another, which is a good thing because it makes the industry flourish and
Right.
grow. But I think there's such a thing as like healthy competition. Like you could be competing with somebody for a slot and still cheer them on, like if they get the slot over you. Um,
Right.
and like you could show them how to just produce better music and put better music out there. And if your writing is better than theirs or theirs is better than yours or a ton of things could happen. I just think
Right. Give them some pointers, "Hey, do you wanna collaborate on songs? That way you see what I do," and vice versa, or whatever.
yeah, help competition
Yeah,
without being hateful is I guess what I
exactly.
would really love more of,
Yeah,
that'd be
I
sick.
agree. Alright, where can people follow your band?
um Over on facebook.com/careless sanctions. And we got like Instagram at careless sanctions. If you go to our link tree, it's uh link dot hang on 1 second, let me actually, yeah, it's linktr.ee uh slash careless sanctions, and it will have everything from our SoundCloud demos to you can go listen to us on Apple Music and all our social media pages. But every follow counts and it helps us spread the word about what we're doing. And I would really love
There it
to
is.
build a platform. And my goal with what I've been doing is to just try and engage the audience and build a bigger audience so that when we do have more music out there and we finally have a release our record, that we can
Mm,
have a wider audience to deliver it to. Because I really want
yeah.
the world to hear it because it's my passion, man. It's the passion of my entire band.
Ex I'm sorry. I accidentally hit a button.
It's okay. It
Okay,
happens.
last but not least, what do you wanna say to your fans or new fans you might have made today?
I would just want to say, first of all, what's up? We post stupid stuff sometimes, and it's just to make people laugh. The end of the day, we're just trying to live our passion, live our dream. Like, biggest thing I would say to you guys is like, don't think that you can't do something. Um, Keep going out there and do the thing that you want to do. Stop waiting for someone to tell you to do it. That thing you've always wanted to do, like just try it and see what happens. You'll never know unless you give it a shot. So,
For sure.
thanks for having us on. Thank
Alright,
you.
thank you. You have a good day.
You too.
Bye.
See ya.